right into it. It's a late one. Well, hello and welcome into this Tuesday's Movie News. Nearly Wednesday. Nearly 2 shows in a one day. Tuesday's Movie News. I am Jonathan C. Walsh here to discuss all of the latest happenings in the world of Marvel. I'm just not even going to dance around it. It's Marvel. Every single topic is relating to Marvel. Every single topic is relating to Comic-Con 2022, because unlike Stephen yesterday, I couldn't think of anything else to speak about. There is literally nothing else in the news just now. It is all Marvel, or DC, or Comic-Con stuff, or discussions about that Predator prequel movie, which apparently is very fucking good. But I'm going to start off just briefly running through the sort of headline moments in terms of Marvel at Comic-Con 2022, whilst trying to find my mouse cursor moving at 240 frames per second on that fucking white background there, which is more difficult than you would imagine. But yeah, there's been a lot of releases of information, a lot of release dates announced, a lot of projects, Phase 5 and beyond, regarding Marvel and its cinematic universe, announced in Hall H at Comic-Con 2022 San Diego by Kevin Feige, and I am going to just briefly go through them and then discuss the director announcement for one specific massive, potentially, project, film that has been announced in this list here. But yeah, as you can see, some of them we know about already. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Known about this for a long time. Known about the name for at least a year, I want to say. It's continuing adventures of Scott Lang and of Janet Van Dyne and Hope Van Dyne and Hank Pym. And the whole gang, Cassie Lang's in there as well. She's all grown up by all accounts. I'll be getting into that later in the show. It's almost a search for Cassie. This movie. She's sucked into the quantum realm. They have to go in and find her. And they find a whole degree of other things in there, which are certainly not Cassie. Some of them are very malevolent, i.e. Kang. Hint hint, wink wink. But yeah, look, I'm looking forward to this movie. This movie's been one I've had on my calendar, marked off, on my phone of course, because I don't actually have a paper calendar up in the wall. It's not 1995 anymore, it's 2022. And it's coming out next year, not long to go at all, roughly about 6 months, 5 months, 7 months. My maths are terrible. It's in that range, it's about half a year away anyway. And look, I'm a huge fan of Paul Rudd, have been for years now, and I really enjoy this character, and I really enjoy, or have enjoyed, past tense, the difference in scale, the difference in stakes that this movie provides. You can go from an Endgame or an Infinity War, whatever it was, and then you go into this human story of Scott Lang with Walton Goggins in there as an arse-white businessman trying to snatch a briefcase of Ghost, was it? I believe it was, this tormented soul who could teleport through walls and stuff. A more human scale story with a funny man as the leading protagonist in Scott Lang, but a very intelligent funny man. A funny man who has poked fun at, but is an engineer. He's not a dafty, as we like to say here in Scotland. An idiot, as other people like to say around the globe. So really looking forward to that. That's kick-starting, I believe, Phase 5, of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I can't think of a better way to start. You've got multiple potentially Kang the Conquerors in here, different variants in here, or maybe just one. That's a great start. And then you've got Secret Invasion in there. Obviously you've got the return of Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson. You've got the likes of Emilia Clarke, I think, in here as well. Really star-studded cast. And it's this, just setting up, or diving into this Kree invasion, I want to call it. I always get confused between the Skrull, even now I can't, the Kree and the other guys invading Earth, shape-shifting. It's going to be a really interesting TV show. By all accounts, Nick has been off vacationing cosmically, and we've had maybe a stand-in for longer than we know. Going to be delving into that. I'm intrigued. I've really enjoyed the TV shows we've been getting on Disney Plus so far. These are all ones we knew about though. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 we knew was finished in terms of production. But we've got a release date, 5th of May 2023. It's a summer blockbuster. And that feels like the right fit for James Gunn and for the final swan song of this iteration of the Guardians. A May summer, well, pre-summer technically, but knocking on the doors of summer release. Again, man, I remember vividly getting into the theatre in 2014 and watching these guys for the first time on the silver screen. The music, the camaraderie, the banter, the stupidity of it all, the heartfelt nature of it all as well. The Skrulls, I do mean the Skrulls, yes, welcome in. I can never, ever recall which one it is that's invading the Earth. Is it the Kree or is it the Skrulls? I know it's one of them. But yeah, they're invading, secret invasion. And of course you've got the likes of Monica Rambeau and potentially Carol Danvers maybe popping in here. That's something that's intertwined with her story as well. So we may see some big cameos in this TV show. But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, man, really fucking looking forward to it. Really enjoyed the panel, getting to see Chris Pratt coming out, getting to see some new faces coming out. Got to see the villain in there. Did we? Am I tripping here? We did get to see the villain, didn't we? We did. He was in the crowd and he walked through. Just great to see James Gunn. Great to see, was it Sean Gunn, his brother, speaking really heartfeltly about working with his brother and about how much they cared about this and about how they were all getting emotional watching the trailer before coming on and doing the sort of discussion in Hall H. Going to be an end of an era with these guys in this movie here, and I'm really looking forward to it. As much as Volume 2 didn't quite hit the same as the first one, just a really interesting ragtag group of characters, and I think only James Gunn could have made them as popular and as successful as he has, because he himself is a man who has some darkness, some tragedy within him, and he's almost living vicariously through those characters. Hawkeye spin-off Echo, I'm not sure what that is. I've seen it announced. I don't know if this is a Kate Bishop TV show, but if it is, she was a likeable enough character, quite bubbly and youthful and optimistic, has that air of invulnerability about her that all youngish people have. I'm looking forward to that, man. I'll just consume all Marvel content. I may not consume it immediately. There may be a break in terms of its run on the streaming service and me finally watching it, but I will get round to watching all of this content because I think you have to. Loki's been announced, Loki 2, not a surprise. Tom Hiddleston had a blast on that. Sylvie and Loki and just the wackiness of that. I watched a great round table with Tom and he spoke about how it was really enjoyable getting into this character and exploring it from a different angle and a different medium over a longer period of time. So really looking forward to seeing him diving deep into this character again. Of course it can't be the Time Variance Authority. They're going to have to go somewhere different in this TV show. Probably just multiverse of madness, wackiness in there. Multiverse, I should say. The Marvels announced. Obviously we knew about the Marvels. That's a continuing story of Carol Danvers. Monica Rambeau's in there. And you've got Kamala Khan, I think it's going to be in there as well. Again, looking forward to that. I didn't mind Captain Marvel. I thought it was a decent enough movie. Was it the best? No. But it was alright. Never really bought into the hysteria, the hatred of Brie Larson, personally. I'm quite looking forward to that. Ironheart, just again, man, as I says, I'll watch it. Don't know a huge amount about it. Blade is the one I'm excited for. It comes out next year, late next year. Mahershala Ali. I'm excited about that because I grew up with the Wesley Snipes Blade movies, and there's a degree of darkness in that story as well. So just where they take that character with Mahershala, an Academy Award winning actor, it's going to be so interesting. It's again a different side to this universe that we have not seen. They're really pushing the envelope in these phases. You can say they're maybe not as successful, maybe they don't have that secret je ne sais quoi sort of ingredient. I don't even know if that's the right use of that word, a phrase. I'm not fucking French, but I'd say I'm maybe missing that wow factor in this first phase, post sort of Tony Stark, post Steve Rogers. But they are pushing the envelope, they're doing something different. We're exploring paranormal stuff, we're exploring pocket universes, witches, and now we're going to explore some vampire hunting. So it's going to be very intriguing. Will Morbius be in there? Fuck knows, because the movie was a disaster, by all accounts. I don't know, because I didn't watch it, I was put off by the response. And that's a shame, because I like Jared Leto. WandaVision's in there as well. Oh, what's this? Echo is based on the character Echo. That makes sense. See, I don't know enough about the comics themselves, man. So I like to have people come in and educate me. Who was deaf and blinded? Kingpin. Is that blinded by Kingpin? Or did he blinded Kingpin? I don't know. Matt Murdock was supposed to appear in that. Listen, I'm pretty sure we get Matt Murdock at the end of one of the trailers we watched. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe in She-Hulk. I think Matt's going to make some cameos before he appears in his own TV show, which is coming up incidentally. They announced Daredevil. So that does sound interesting. I love those kind of characters who have to rely on other senses to maybe help them out in situations. You thrust these guys into a corrupt world or maybe some violence, and they have to use different skills and traits and senses to guide them through it. That's what I loved about Matt Murdock in Daredevil. The fact he was blind, but he was hypersensitive in all other regions. His hearing, his smell. I can't wait to see Blade, man. It's just a really different concept. That and Daredevil, which I'm obviously about to speak about, and potentially Deadpool when they finally introduce him into this universe, I should say. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle that difference in tone. We've seen it explored in Doctor Strange. We've seen it explored to a degree, maybe going a bit darker than the customary squeaky clean MCU tone. But she blinded Kingpin in the Hawkeye series, so did she? I didn't even realise that. I didn't even realise he was blinded. I just seen him getting fucking mown down by a car and I think something exploded. That's intriguing. Well, that's another one I'm looking forward to seeing. D'Onofrio coming back as Kingpin. He's just, what a presence, man. And he's a great actor. Phenomenal actor, generational, some would say. So you have him back. And just the fact that they've correctly identified what worked on Netflix and they're cherry picking it, gives me hope that we may see Bernthal back, potentially as Punisher in some vein as well. They've picked out the best aspects of those TV shows and they're bringing them over to this universe. They realise what the fans want at Marvel Disney, and unlike other studios like perhaps Lucasfilm for instance, 9 times out of 10 they will give the fans what they want, but obviously within the confines of Kevin Feige's sandbox, because you can't break that or you will have absolute fucking chaos. Speaking of which, man, WandaVision gets a spin-off. Oh yeah, it's Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Great to get Agatha Harkness back in there. Catherine Ham is brilliant in that TV show, one of the real standout characters. Brilliant actor. Looking forward to that. Daredevil, man, can't tell you how excited I am to see Daredevil appearing. Charlie Cox has wanted to be part of this universe for years now. 18 episodic first season. They're starting to push the episodes up a bit, and that's great for people like us who react to these TV shows, because it gives us a chance to mine it fucking dry potentially for content on the channel. You will never know about content when you're doing YouTube. So that's great for us. Really looking forward to him coming in, how they handle it. He's a lawyer. He's popped up already, obviously, in No Way Home. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with this. Captain America, obviously New World Order. Tony Mackie comes in first stint as Captain America. Finishing with Thunderbolts, and then the fucking huge announcement of 2 Avengers movies as well. Coming, I believe, 2025. Pre-summer and then post-summer, winter. And that's where I really into the headline, which is this. Destin Daniel Cretton is going to be directing the first of those double-header Avengers movies. The Kang Dynasty, if you like. Dynasty. Listen, I think this is great news, man. I've really enjoyed Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings. I thought it was a brilliant movie. It was really heartfelt. It had all of the things you would want in a Marvel movie. It had the humour, but it had a great, alluring, fresh-faced character, protagonist, coming at you from a different part of the world, from different in general. It had a freshness to it, the movie, and I just thought he had done a brilliant job handling so many big personalities in there. Simu Liu, Aquafina. There's so many big personalities in that movie, and some interesting characters and concepts he dabbled with, and I thought he really did a brilliant job with that movie. He stuck the landing. It was a really emotionally harrowing story with this guy's father. He was a bad man, but he was also a conflicted man. He was doing it for love. And there's something that makes me immensely happy to see that they have rewarded him after his brilliant performance in the director's chair in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings with a huge Avengers directing gig. And it shows you the confidence they have in this guy. Kevin Feige and the Marvel executive, the Disney executive, Bob Chapek. They've obviously watched that movie. They've really enjoyed it, like the fans, I think, in the main did. And they've realised this guy's got the minerals, we believe, to take a big, huge blockbuster like this. The first in this new phase of storytelling. Coming to the end of it, obviously, I think it's the end of fucking phase 6, actually. It's the end of the multiverse story in general. They trust this guy to maybe kickstart the beginning of the end. It's a bookend, isn't it? In a sense, he's bookending it. Well, it isn't a bookend. I'm talking shite. It's the start of the bookend. And the fact they're doing 2 Avengers movies in the 1 year, I don't think that's ever been done. I mean, maybe in the same sense of Infinity War and Endgame were a year apart, kind of a year, but the same calendar year, 2 Avengers movies. He's going to start the beginning of the end of this multiverse concept. We still don't know who is going to be directing the final one, Secret Wars, I think it is. But just really interesting choice, man. I think he's a brilliant director. I'm really looking forward to seeing this guy stepping up. And look, I'm going to be speaking in the next topic about secret projects. There's potentially 6 secret projects still to be announced through 2026. We could see potentially another Shang-Chi movie, and we could see Destin coming in and actually directing another Shang-Chi movie before he does this Avengers movie. So this will give this guy a chance to again further maybe supplant himself into the shoes of like a kind of fucking second wave of Russo brother, because of course they came in and done multiple movies before they did those huge Avengers movies at the end of the Infinity Saga. But it's been reported by the Hollywood Reporter, as you can see, word of Cretton's hiring to direct. I can't even speak here. We don't yet know. That's how excited I am. We don't yet know who is writing the movie, nor is the cast clear at this point. That doesn't matter. We'll get to that. It's years out at this point. But it's fucking great, man, to see Avengers movies on the calendar. And again, I'm going to be speaking about Feige in a moment as well, why he announced these things at this year's Comic-Con when they are so many years out, 3 years out. He could have left it for another year or so. But he wants to give people like myself and thousands of other people out there, fans of this franchise, of this universe, something to look forward to. He wants it put on the calendar so we can build to it and really build anticipation. So in a way, it doesn't matter, man, who's writing it just now. We're years out from this. There's a lot of storytelling to be had building to this point. But it's just great, man. It's great that they're showing confidence in this guy. It's great that they have awarded this guy with this movie, because I think he deserves it. Without repeating myself, I really enjoyed Shang-Chi. I thought it was a great movie. But you can see obviously Jonathan Majors, who played Kang variant, He Who Remains in Loki, and appears as another version in next February's Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, will be a crucial element. I fucking hope so. It's called Kang Dynasty, however you pronounce that. So if he's not going to be in it and be a prominent role, I'd be worried. Beyond that, the rest is rumour. Well, I mean, it's clear this guy's a bit of a crusader. He's a bit of a maverick, a malevolent maverick who likes to go through time and manipulate things in great battles. So you can kind of get a sense of where they're going to go here with this, and it's just going to be so interesting to see what encompasses this new Avengers group. Who's going to be the leader? Who's going to make up this new heroic group? We know we're not going to have Steve Rogers there. We know we're not going to have Tony Stark there. We're going to have Sam Wilson as Captain America. We're going to have Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange. Potentially Tom Holland Spider-Man in there. I don't think he's signed a new deal yet. Shang-Chi's going to be in there. Fantastic Four. They've announced Fantastic Four as a movie. They could be in there. So there is so much to be excited about here, so many big personalities, a new era of Avengers movies, and I just cannot wait to see where they go with in terms of this story. I personally think Jonathan Majors is a fucking brilliant actor, and unlike other channels out there, it was abundantly clear to me that he was the big bad who was leading this era of storytelling, this saga if you'd like. It's a multiverse saga. This guy is a multiverse traveller. It would be so obvious to anyone with a brain cell that this guy is going to be the big bad, but then you've got other channels out there who are saying things like, yeah, I think he'll come in, he'll be a prominent figure for 1 or 2 movies, then he'll disappear, and then we'll get the true big bad coming in. Well, no, man, it's Kang the Conqueror. It's Jonathan Majors, and he is a great actor, and that is why ultimately Kevin Feige has said this. He believes there's nobody shoulders he'd rather put the multiverse saga on than the aforementioned Jonathan Majors. So, and again, he's come out and stated that he's confirmed he is a big bad. He's the guy that's going to be your Thanos of this saga. Does it have to be the end of times fucking universal existential threat that we deal with in this saga? It does not. Will it be? I think it will be. Not everything has to live up to what came before. It can be fresh, it can be different, it can be slightly smaller in scale, but equally as brilliant. But this is what you had to say, man, about Majors. Just connecting it into Kang Dynasty, however you pronounce that. I'm just going to keep doing that throughout this show until I end. It does to say, he was speaking with comicbook.com, and he said of the multiverse saga as a sort of homogenous whole. It comes down to the cast, and with Jonathan Majors, who I think took over the Hall H stage, he certainly did. He was wooing like Ric Flair, and I love that. I love a guy who can woo, because I like to do it as well. I didn't grow up with Ric Flair, but I've seen him, and he certainly was around when I was watching wrestling, and I was impressed by Kang, by Jonathan Majors doing that when he came on the stage. This guy was feeding off the energy. That tells me right off the bat you've got your right guy there. If you don't think he's a great actor, you're wrong, but fair enough. But just fucking watch that. Watch him come on the stage and feed off the energy, man. The guy is comfortable in this position. As you can see, he's coming on. In 3 minutes he was up there. It's amazing. I said to him, there's nobody's shoulders I'd be rather putting the multiverse saga on than his. It's really impressive what Jonathan Majors is able to do. And all the different incarnations, variants if you will, of Kang that we will see him do. It's really cool. This is why I was excited for Jonathan Majors coming in. And it's why I was so impressed with how he dominated the screen in Loki. He was on the screen with also Tom Hiddleston. I forget the name of the actress who portrays Sylvie. But really brilliant actors in their own right. And up to that point had been dominating the eyeballs in that TV show and really acquitting themselves brilliantly in this different medium for the character. He comes on the screen, man, and I'm telling you, you're just, I can't speak for anyone else, but I was transfixed by his performance. He was owning the camera. He was owning his fellow actors. He completely dominated the scenes with Hiddleston and the other actress whose name eludes me at the moment. That was just a tiny little insight into the character. That was a variant that had become forlorn, maybe burdened by watching over the sacred timeline. Just think of what he's going to give us, man. His more evil, menacing versions of this character. The fact that you've got this character who can assume different guises. He can maybe appear in the same movie 2-3 times as different variants and give a totally different performance. This is what excited me in the build up to Doctor Strange. The chance of perhaps having a Steve Rogers coming in, and what that would get, a dark, evil Steve Rogers or something, and what that would have gave Chris Evans in terms of performance, freshness, approaching the character from a different angle. This is what you've gave Jonathan Majors here in the Kang the Conqueror character. You gave a really brilliant actor the chance to assume multiple guises, multiple variants, and attack this character from different angles, and really give something special in terms of performance. There is no other character, I think, that allows you that luxury in these stories. And in terms of cinematic adaptation, I don't think there's another character you can do it with. So that's why I'm so excited to see Kang. in Ant-Man, in any other guys he appears leading up to these two huge Avengers movies. And it's why I'm so excited, man, to see Destin Daniel Cretton coming in and directing that first Avengers movie. Because for me, he's already proven he can handle big personalities. He's proven he can handle interesting, zany, different stories. And again, it's just following in the footsteps of what Marvel have done over the last 10 or so years. They don't tend to give the job to the big veteran director. They create their own veteran directors in-house. They will give someone you've never heard of, if you're ignorant, a directing gig in a smaller movie, and they will build them and they will really shape and cut that diamond, that rough diamond, into an absolute beautiful gem. And then by the end you've got something special. They've done it with the Russos for me, and I think they will do it with Destin Daniel Cretton here. I think they will really, if he can get it right, catapult this fucking guy to superstardom. Time will tell whether he does the second one. I don't know if he does, but I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. Looking forward to the build up to this movie, man. And again, this is why I think Feige's decision to announce it this year at this Comic-Con, the first with fans in 2 years, post-pandemic, was the right decision. I've seen many people and many guys speak about the pandemic and how it's affected the average human being in the street. How it's darkened their world, it's made them depressed in some cases, it's really inflicted a lot of pain and misery on people. And how just little tiny things like winning a game of football or something, or doing something in an artistic medium, can affect and bring out positivity and really change that person's life for the better. To me, this is what Kevin Feige is getting into here. He's getting into this realm post-pandemic with these decisions to announce these big projects. It gives people hope. It gives them something to look forward to if they're maybe down in the dumps. Gives them something to stick around for maybe. I don't know. I don't want to get too dark and yeah, a bit weird. I don't want to go down that path, but we want to remain upbeat here as I go off a fucking cliff and can barely speak, knocking on 12 AM here. Kang being directed by Cretton is going to be epic, especially since the Kang Dynasty follows the Fantastic Four movie and how that movie will lead into the Kang Dynasty. Listen, man, again, I don't know how they're going to do the Fantastic Four movie. I think in the original story, what created the Fantastic Four was some energy thing, threat from space. They go up on a mission. Also, that gives them their powers. I don't know how they could maybe implement that and maybe work that into can they work that into a Kang playing a villain in that as well? I don't know. I'd just love to see more majors personally. But just getting the Fantastic Four movie out the way, introducing them to this universe in time for these Avengers movies. It's big personalities we need. We were speaking about this on this channel not too long ago, me and Stephen, about how there's a real dearth of big personalities. We know Tony Stark and no Steve Rogers and no Natasha Romanoff. You're missing these big figures. You need to fill these figures in, replace them with equally big figures. I think Sam Wilson can become that guy as Captain America. I don't think he's quite there just now, but he's on that path. And I think with Tony Stark, you can certainly bring in a Shuri or something if she's not going to be the next Black Panther. There's nothing to suggest she can't be Black Panther and be a cerebral sort of brilliant scientific Black Panther at the same time. But you need to be filling the gaps. You're missing Chadwick Boseman as well, and I love the coverage of Black Panther in this Comic-Con. Just the trailer, really special trailer for me. The stuff coming out from the cast, how they're really honouring Chadwick's memory, and it's a celebration of him, this movie. You need people like that to be replaced, and bringing the Fantastic Four in, they can certainly come in and have a huge impression on an Avengers movie. I don't know if there's maybe previews for that in the comics, them actually working in the Avengers, or whether they've always been compartmentalised in their own stories. I'm not entirely sure, but certainly if they're following in the same footsteps as maybe Infinity War and Endgame, you're going to have upwards of 20-30 heroes on the screen at any given moment. You'd be foolish not to put the Fantastic Four in there, for me anyway. And again, you've got all these huge personalities in various degrees of development, Kate Bishops and stuff like that. They can come in. I'm blanking on the name just now. Yelena, next Black Widow. By this point of these movies, 2-3 years down the road, these characters will be firmly, I'm trying to think of the word, firmly established. That's the word I'm looking for in this universe. There's been a lot of gnashing of teeth about Marvel just recently. Their struggles, perhaps, post Infinity Saga, how they don't have the personalities, how they're not quite hitting off, how it's taking them longer than phase 1, 2 and 3 and 4 maybe, 1, 2 and 3, to make things stick. We'll get there, I'm sure we will. I trust Kevin Feige, I think he will get it right in the end. Secret Wars will possibly be like Endgame, multiple directors with a lead director possibly. They're going to be huge movies, man. These Avengers movies are like small cities. Huge big departments all working in tandem to make magic happen. So it wouldn't surprise me, man, if you can have 2 director units on like a Hobbit movie, Serkis and Jackson. Why the fuck not have it? In an Avengers movie, and why not have Daniel Destin Cretton maybe coming in? If it is that, I always get his name mixed up. I've literally just read the name. Destin, Daniel Destin. It's like Joseph Gordon-Levitt again. John David Washington. Why not have him coming in and have an influence? You're obviously going to have ripple effects. What he does in that first Avengers movie will have a knock-on effect on the second one, clearly. But this is what Kevin had to say about his rationale behind announcing what he did, when he did, at Comic-Con 2022. He had this to say: well, you know, we're in a slightly different rhythm now. Phase 1, 2 and 3 were less projects over more years. Now we're doing more projects, and that's one of the things I took away as well, the sheer number of projects and how quickly we're going to rip through these phases and get to an Avengers, a sort of defining Avengers moment. It took 10 years to get there with the first 3 phases. It's only taken something like 6 years with these phases. It's expedited quite a bit, and there's a huge amount of content get churned out in that period. So that's something I sat up and took notice of personally. I'm like, wow, you're getting an Avengers movie. It felt quick to me, because he wasn't that long ago speaking about how there was no plans for an Avengers movie. Kevin Feige, that is. Now he's announced 2. But this is his rationale behind the announcements. He says, over more years, now we're doing more projects. With all the amazing series we were able to do on Disney Plus over less years, and it felt like we needed to let people know. People used to have that guide point of when an Avengers would come to cap the phase. It felt like announcing today the Multiverse Saga and 2 Avengers films would cap that. That was something that we needed to share, and like I completely agree, they did need to share it for a whole array of reasons, because people are maybe more downtrodden and negative about Marvel just now than ever before. So to announce the likes of Fantastic Four, to announce and confirm that Majors is playing the big bad as Kang the Conqueror, to announce all these great TV shows, to finally give us a date for Blade, to give us 2 Avengers movies to look forward to, I think it's important. And it'll maybe give confidence that what they're doing, they've thought this out. This isn't on the hop. They're not within a state of disarray just now. They know what they're doing, and they'll get there. Trust them. These guys had the Avengers movies, Infinity War, Endgame planned out, had a cut of it. Very rough. Years in advance. They know what they're fucking doing, man. I trust them. I agree, we need more personalities. Well, they can recast Wolverine since Hugh has confirmed he's retired as Wolverine. Disney still has an old Fox contract that expires in 2025. Well, it all makes sense, doesn't it, for the X-Men at the moment? And again, that's why maybe the capping it off with those 2 Avengers movies, getting them out the way, getting this phase out the way, getting this saga out the way is important, because we can then move on to a new era with the X-Men and mutants popping up in earnest in this universe, and then we get another saga, another story. Look, man, that may be the end of an era in terms of Marvel. They may just go ahead and recast everything at that point, start from scratch, because there's so many great stories to be told. Sort of fighting the Avengers versus the X-Men and stuff like that. I mean, there's so much potential there in terms of storytelling, and to continue to back yourself into that corner with the current incarnations. They're getting older as well, man. The likes of Chris Hemsworth, he's in his 40s now, or knocking on 40. They're starting to get on, so that may be the clean cut to then just scrap everything and start from scratch. Fresh faces, fresh direction. I don't know, but look, I enjoyed the fact that Feige came out and at least says, look, yeah, that's why I announced it, bitches, have at it. I love Marvel, man. You can tell I've got the shield behind me. I've got Mjolnir over there, man. I fucking love what they do in these studios. Are they Oscar-winning baiting movies? No, they are not. But in the main, they deliver consistent popcorn fare, blissful escapism for people who need it. And it's just great seeing these larger-than-life personalities popping on the biggest screen possible. So I'll continue to love these movies no matter what, man. No matter what the decision-making is, I'll love them. And I'm an unapologetic sycophant. And if people don't like it, they know what they can do. Get fucked. But on this note, I'm going to end on this. This is the last topic. Short and sweet. I mean, we're already a good 37 minutes in here, which is impressive considering my voice feels as though it's going. I feel like a croaky 90-year-old guy getting ready to check into palliative care, see out the final hours of his life. The voice is nearly away. So for me to last 37 minutes, it's late as fuck as well. I was chasing it today. Big time. Trying to put a show together. I'm happy with that. We'll end on this, discussing this poster. Because look, as I say, as I started the show speaking about announcements, and I mentioned my excitement levels for Ant-Man 3. I've been one of the few people out there who have been championing Scott Lang since day dot. Some people shit in these movies. Yeah, they're the least performing at box office. They're silly. Yada yada yada. I fucking love these movies, man. I love this guy. I love the actor. And I love the way they have gave us this almost compartmentalised ensemble team. Hank Pym, Hope Van Dyne, Scott Lang, Cassie Lang now in there, Janet Van Dyne. All the interesting characters. Jimmy Woo, I think, is another one that's in there. You've got all these, and obviously Dismalkin and Michael Cena, I think, or Sarah or something like that. His friends. You've got this little pocket universe happening with these movies, which is something I've always enjoyed with the Marvel movies anyway. You get this grandiose interconnected universe, but you've got little independent things happening and their own little universes within. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this movie, man. Where they go with this movie, how they incorporate Kang into it. Obviously he's going to appear in the quantum realm, that's clear. This is how the guy probably gets about timelines. They're going in there to try and rescue his fucking daughter. They're going to pop into the bold Kang, but what a poster, man. This is. Phase 6 does not end at the end of 2024, so maybe 2025 is the age of X. Could be, man. It could be. I think myself they'll wait till those Avengers movies are done. I think we'll see out the multiverse saga, and then we'll bring the X-Men in, even if there wasn't contractual reasons for it. Maybe lingering X-Men Fox stuff going on. I think they would still just wait clean cut. I mean that's just another era entirely of storytelling, of characters. I mean, that's another Avengers in its own right there with the X-Men. There's so much you can do with that in terms of casting and fucking storytelling and movies. You can do crazy shit with that. Leave it, clean cut it, start afresh and do something different. I'm not going to tell you how concerning it is for me to go into my Twitter and see Love Island trending as if I watch Love Island. I do not watch Love Island. I'm going to state that right now. The biggest pile of shit out there, man. All these self-centred twats looking for their 5 minutes of fame. No interest in that shite, man. What I'm interested in is this poster, man. Look at this. This is like Van Gogh. And yes, I did say Van Gogh because it's no Van Gogh. That's what fools call Vincent. He was Dutch. The Dutch are us Scots. They pronounce certain words like that's how they say it. And no, I wasn't gargling there. That's how they pronounce it. Vincent Van Gogh. Search up Vincent Van Gogh's Midnight Star, I think Starry Midnight or something like that. I can't remember the name of the actual painting. It's a famous painting. It looks like this, man. It looks like the quantum realm. You see, Vincent was switched on. He was 100 years in advance. He knew that they were going to be exploring the fucking quantum realms in Marvel movies. And he's like, bitches, I'm going to give you a poster. I'll give you your inspiration 100 years in advance. A jest, of course, man, but what a fucking poster that is. It's so colourful. It's lovely aquamarines and turquoises in there. You've got your free leading protagonists front and centre, and then you've got the foreboding presence of Kang the Conqueror in the background. I tell you, man, as much as I like Jonathan Majors though, and I speak about how excited I am for him playing all these different variants and villainous turns, if you like, there is a bit of a job for him to do, because he's such a likeable guy. He's got such a likeable face as well. His face doesn't immediately spring out as being evil. There's some people you just watch in shows. We're watching a great Indian show just now, Sacred Games, and there's a guy in that, it's just, he looks evil. You look at him, you think, yep, he's evil. This guy's emotionless. He's a bad guy. Majors doesn't quite have that out and out immediate bad guy vibe, so he's going to have to give us something special with his performance. I've got confidence he will, but he is going to have to give us something special. But what a fucking poster, man. I thought I'd speak about it. I was going to talk about this briefly, but I'm not going to, because I've run out of steam. Needless to say, I'll briefly speak about it before I go. Fuck it. They're speculating on 6 potential unnamed mysterious, they're saying movies, but I've put projects in the graphics bar, because I don't know if you can fit 6 more movies into these ensuing years before these Avengers movies. Is there enough space for 6 movies? I'm not entirely sure there is. I think there's enough space to get Shang-Chi in there though. This guy, as I said before, top of the show, speaking about the director, I love the movie, man. One of my favourite Marvel movies in recent years. Thought the dad was a brilliant character. Really impressive villain performance. This guy was just fantastic. Same age as me, Simu. Looks a lot younger. Just full of exuberance and excitement and presence and potential. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the go. Aquafina, I really enjoyed Aquafina personally. I thought she was funny as hell. I laughed at a moment you probably shouldn't have laughed at, when she was dangling off the building on the scaffolding. I just really enjoyed the way they incorporated them into the universe, and I'm really looking forward to seeing potentially a Shang-Chi 2 in the next couple of years. And this guy, I mean, as I said, he's the same age as me, so he's not getting any younger. He's not an old man yet, but he's getting... We need to get moving here and get some movies under the belt. He's in the same kind of time frame that Chris Evans was when he came on as Captain America. Early 30s, has to get a fucking move on. So they probably need to get a Shang-Chi 2 out at some point in the next couple of years. Doctor Strange is an interesting one for me. I mean, we're clearly going to get a Doctor Strange 3, because Marvel have a complete hard-on for trilogies. So, I mean, it's inevitable we're going to get a trilogy of Doctor Strange movies. But if we're going to get it as late as 2025, will it even be within this saga? Well, I mean, he is the Sorcerer Supreme. We're doing multiverse. It would make sense to maybe incorporate him into another multiverse story. But I think you could potentially see a Strange 3 movie after 2025. I don't know if it will be one of these mysterious 6 projects that they speak of. Scarlet Witch, man. Are we going to get a Scarlet Witch movie, man? No one's a bigger fan of Elizabeth Olsen than me again, same age as me. I've got an appreciation for people who age that fucking well, because I'm certainly not. And hugely talented actor. But is she a big enough personality in her own right to get a movie? Probably is, to be fair. Hugely powerful character, get that darkness within her. It's multiverse again. I really enjoyed WandaVision. You can maybe bring in Vision or something like that as well. Maybe conclude that strange relationship they've got. Possible. That's possible, man. Was it announced? Was there even talk of a fucking Scarlet Witch thing even been thought about? I'd love to know where they've got this punt from. I don't know. Wouldn't be adverse to it. Depends on how they work it in. X-Men the Mutants, we've kind of spoke about that in the chat. I don't think we'll get X-Men. I mean, this is through 2026 to be fair, so we could get an X-Men movie in 2026, and May would be the perfect time for it. So I think this is actually a great shout from whoever wrote this article for Screen Rant. 2026, summer release, big blockbuster are coming into the summer period. That'd be a brilliant shout, man. X-Men the Mutants announcing their arrival into this universe. Summer 2026, post Avengers, post multiverse saga. Probably a shout. And of course she is kinda a mutant, isn't she? Kamala Khan is a mutant. She's got this mutant power where her hands enlarge and she can stretch them and stuff like that. And by all accounts, Namor or something, character that's just been introduced, Atlantean I think, in the Black Panther trailer, is a mutant as well. So we are already dabbling with mutants in this universe. It's just giving them a coherent ensemble movie to really kickstart their announcement. And some big, obviously, versions of them, the likes of Wolverine, Professor X, Magneto, Mystique, Nightcrawler. There's so many great characters, there really is. World War Hulk, this is not going to happen, man. I'm sorry, it just simply is not going to happen. We're not getting a Hulk movie. It's not going to happen. I think it's Universal hold the rights for Hulk. They ain't going to allow it, man. This is why we get a Hulk story over 3 separate movies. It started with Ragnarok. Your middle act was an Infinity War and it concluded with Endgame, with Smart Hulk. They're not going to give us a standalone Hulk movie. I personally would love to see it. We have got She-Hulk, we've got Hulk still hanging around. Mark Ruffalo is still there. I just don't see us getting a Hulk movie. I'd personally fucking love to see it, as I says, but nah, I don't see it, man. I don't see it happening. Eternals 2. I've still not seen Eternals. I have not seen Eternals. I was told it was average. It didn't feel like a Marvel movie, which is maybe not a bad thing, but I need to watch it. But I don't think so. I don't think so. Are we going to get an Eternals 2? Can you even tell that story? I have not seen the first one. Was this not introducing them and giving a whole backstory? I don't know. Fuck knows. That one I'm whelmed about. I don't really care about that. I'll just keep bringing it up just for consistency and then I'll end the show. I hadn't heard of Wanda getting a solo, but she may well do. Yeah. I mean, she's a big actor. She's been around. She's earned it. Interesting character as well. X-Men, I've been waiting for their arrival in the MCU. I think everyone has, to be fair, after the Fox-Disney merger. So, I mean, it's inevitable it's going to happen. It's just when, really. I think they're just trying to create enough distance between Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and his successor so it doesn't feel weird. Because it's going to feel weird anyway. Because Hugh is synonymous with that character. And no matter who they cast, they're on to a pounding. World War Hulk would be interesting, but I agree. Ruffalo is getting older. In 4 years he'll be on the dark side of his 50s. Yeah, it's too fucking old, isn't it? Anyway, it's too old. Up there for Eternals 2. Yeah, I need to watch Eternals 1, man. And then I'll decide whether I want a second. Cool chat. You too, mate. I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate people coming in and commenting. It gives you something to bounce off of, man. We don't get enough comments on here during live shows. I don't know why. I think it's because people don't understand us half the time. But you clearly do. And a random Kiwi from New Zealand. I love New Zealand. We were talking about Peter Jackson yesterday. I love Taika. So, I always like to get the Antipodeans in here, man. A great part of the world. Apart from the spiders. They can get to fuck. But all she's are like us. She's like a drink, you're chill. So, good enough for me. But look, man, that's going to round it up. What's your thoughts on Destin Cretton? Or Destin Daniel Cretton, whatever his name is, being announced as the director for an Avengers movie that is still 3 years away. Are you excited about it? Are you excited about the Kang Dynasty movie in general? What's your thoughts about the announcements at Comic-Con? What was your favourite announcement? Thoughts on Ant-Man 3's poster and then these secret projects that are yet to be announced? Comment down below if you've got anything to say about any of those topics in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, hit the follow button and the notifications button over on Twitch as well for all the aforementioned reasons. To see us doing the exact same thing on a different platform. I don't know why we do it, but we do. And until next time, all that's left for me to say is I'm done.